England means everything to me. The easy choice would be to stay silent. I look at my country, I've got 3 children. It's my duty as an Englishman to make sure that I hand down a safe and prosperous country to them. They can tell people I'm a figure of hate. They can tell people I'm an extremist. The public don't buy it anymore. Most places I go, I get loved. I get loved by the public because they've tried to make me a leper because I talk about issues that expose their failures. They have failed with mass migration. They failed with integration. They failed with assimilation. The entire British Parliament have pandered and cowered in the face of ideologies that wish to destroy this nation.
Alrighty, guys, welcome back to it. Conservative Confucius here. All right, so let's get into it. We're going to be covering Tommy Robinson and his most recent interview with Visgrad 24. You know, I've not talked a lot about him but he's a very interesting figure that I find to have many similar beliefs in. You know, we're both patriots in a way. We're both nationalists. We're both believe in the dangers of Islam, but we're not isolationists. You know, we're not, let's go back into our corner and only worry about ourselves. I believe that we should protect ourselves and get our own house in order first, just like he believes. But he also doesn't believe in abandoning allies that provide worthy relationships with. Ukraine, not a worthy relationship. And that's just the truth. Unless they can start providing or doing something to ease to equalize the relationship, there's no future with that relationship, unlike Israel, where there's great benefits in that. And the history of oppression of the Jewish people is also a reason to be supportive. And he sees this very, very clearly. And he sees the dangers of the rise in anti-Semitic hate crimes and the pro-Hamas crap. So I think he's a very reasonable person who gets branded as far right for no reason. And it's just a smear tactic to further take power away from him and to make sure that the common sense people never come back into power in Britain. So let's get into it. Don't forget to go down there, smash the like button, hit that subscribe button. It really helps our channel. Only around 46% of you guys are subscribed right now. It really, really helps when you guys do. So please go down there, hit that subscribe button, ring the bell for notifications, and don't forget to share this video if you like it. Alrighty. All right, let's get into it.
Tommy,
Stefan,
good to see you.
good to see you too, bro.
We've known each other for years.
Yep.
A lot of things have changed. I mean, you were one of the most hated men in this country. You were essentially almost a leper. You were pretty much untouchable. You were considered, the most hated man in the UK. Yet many of the things that you said, many of the things that you warned about, not everything, there's some things we obviously disagree on. We have different opinions on many issues, but fundamentally there's a few key things we agree upon, and one of them is that mass migration is bad. What is it that has changed over the last few years in the UK, say from the beginning of your activism in 2009, with the establishment of the EDL, up to now?
What's
changed, Tommy?
What's changed? I was born in Luton in 1982. When I was born, there was one mosque. There's now 45. Yeah?
Wow.
When I talked about issues I saw, yeah? Now the country's seen those issues. So when I started talking about them in 2009, these problems of mass migration, the problems of Islamisation of our country, the general public hadn't recognised it the way I'd recognised it. But Luton is a blueprint for every town and city. Now people have watched, they've seen what's happening, and they can see it themselves. And the perception's changed because people see that when you say most hated man in Britain, the media have called me that for years, yeah?
Sure.
But most places I go, I get loved. I get loved by the public.
Same with
So
Trump.
it's always this perception, and they've been very successful because they've tried to make me a leper. They've tried to make me toxic because I talk about issues that expose their failures. They have failed with mass migration. They failed with integration. They failed with assimilation. They have, when I say they, I mean the entire British Parliament, have pandered and cowered in the face of ideologies that wish to destroy this nation. They got on their knees for the Marxists of Black Lives Matter. They cower in fear in the face of Islam. They dare not even speak about it. The cowardice shown, the destruction of this nation and where we're at currently now in Great Britain is because of their cowardice. Yeah? And right now, the British public are awakening in a massive way, not just the British public. If you look at the voting patterns across Europe, remember when I started my activism, when we first met, and I started my activism, I think the Swedish Democrat Party were on 1.5%. They're now on 22 to 24%. Geert Wilders is now winning the election in
the Netherlands.
In the Netherlands, yeah. He was banned from even entering this country, yeah.
Sure.
He was seen as an extremist. He was seen as a leper, like I was, yeah. Everything he said was true. The warnings he gave, he tried to give a voice to the Dutch people. about putting them first, about the dangers that can come, especially since October 7th. The whole world has seen the radicalisation, the hatred on the streets of every Western nation. Coming out of the universities, look, the best universities in the world are now full of people calling for the gas of the Jews. It's insanity.
Yeah.
It's a level of insanity it's awakened the world, and essentially the people who have lied the whole way through this, which is all of them, which is the mainstream media, their trust has gone, the monopoly they had has gone. They can tell people I'm a figure of hate. They can tell people I'm an extremist. The public don't buy it anymore. Yeah, they do not buy it. Obviously, I was censored. They censored me for a reason, so people don't get to hear what I say. They get to tell people who I am. Well, thanks to Elon Musk for restoring my free speech, because they were given a 6-year reign of lying to the public about me, and now I've been given my voice back over the last 6 months, and the British public have listened to who I am again.
Have you changed your views on anything? Is there anything where you've where your views have evolved, or your views have changed, or you thought actually maybe I wasn't radical enough on this, or like I'd underestimated something or overestimated something?
I think if you dig up the first leaflet I ever made, which was in 2004 when I was 20, was it 20? And everything I say, I use it in my Oxford Union speech. Every word I say in that is exactly to the word that I say today. I've never changed. Yeah? What I said in that is that individual Muslims are not a problem. Extremists, radical jihadists are a problem. I said that whites and blacks are being religiously and racially targeted in the town of Luton. The Islamic community are given free reign. I talked about two-tier policing. Now the whole country talks about the two-tier policing. I spoke about Islamic jihad before people even knew what jihad was.
Yeah.
But only because I'm a product of the environment. I've grown up in Luton, where Al Mujahideen, who were only prescribed in 2013 or 14, they are 60% of the Muslims in British prisons for terrorism, are ex-members of that group. I went to school with them. Yeah, their head office.
When he says prescribed, I think he means prescribed. It's like when a person gets declared a terrorist in the UK, they call it prescribed.
And Abu Hamza's head office was in my town. Yeah, my town. So I grew up learning, had to learn who these groups were, had to understand the hatred, the venom, where it comes from, had to understand what was happening, the change in my town, the loss of freedom, the two-tier policing, the two-tier funding, the way the Islamic community becomes so powerful that as white English working class, we become irrelevant. They vote like a military fashion. Yeah, block voting. Oh, yeah. The whole country's now seeing it.
We're seeing it. But
yeah, that's the issue. I mean, if you just look at the local elections in Bradford, in Birmingham, was it Leicestershire, a few other places are completely taken over by Muslims because they vote lockstep together. Like, it doesn't matter what their political opinions are on this issue or that issue. When it comes to getting into politics, they are willing to put aside every difference imaginable to get someone in power that's Muslim. Even if that Muslim doesn't hold all the same beliefs, they generally hold a large majority of their beliefs are in line with each other. So it's beneficial to them to do something like that, even though it's in a way shouldn't even be legal. And if you're a foreign national with citizenship and you vote like that, that seems like not only voting interference and kind of like rigging elections in a way, because you're swaying them by using popular vote as a tool to further undermine a natural people's government. And we see that look at Dearborn. Dearborn is the most Muslim city in all of America. And it's so Muslim that I don't agree with, outright banning a flag unless it's a terrorist flag or a flag of a organization that's committed violence against people. So the gay pride flag, I don't like it. Shouldn't be anywhere at schools. It shouldn't be hung up next to the American flag, or at least on buildings. You can do it in your own personal house. I don't care. But Dearborn completely banned all rainbow flags or any type of LGBTQ flag. It is punishable under the law in Dearborn. And that's just insane. In America, they're banning a flag from being displayed in an American city. And it's not because of some political reason, not because of some jurisdictional or jurisprudence reason. Sorry, my throat's a little iffy. Like I said, I just quit smoking, so I kind of hawk up some stuff. And It's not because of anything to do with whether or not it's, like I said, the law. It's not to do with sorry, basically anything but religion. It's not personal beliefs on culture and things. It's 100% religious beliefs. And yes, their cultural beliefs are influenced by their religious beliefs, but it's 100% on that. And if we were in any other place in America, and let's say Christians or Jews decided that they wanted to outlaw the, let's say every single Muslim nation's flag. So if you're Muslim and you're from another country, you can't hang up your country's flag. And we banned them all. Or we banned the Quran from every city that, whatever city we wanted. So say, we go to the most Jewish city in America or the most Christian city in America, and that in that city we ban the Quran completely. What would the world say? What would not just the nation, but what would the world say? They would say, oh, these inconsiderate, racist, Islamophobic Jews, or these Islamophobic, racist Christians. And then they would blame, and say, oh, this is religious, theocracy. You can't do this. This is, supremacist, blah, 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 blah. But when they do it, it's judged as something it's just their culture. We have differences. That's, we have to live with those differences. Okay, cool. But they have to live with our differences. They came to our country. It's their job to adjust to our civilization and culture, not our job to meet them in the middle. That's the big issue I have with the left. It used to be, okay, like I had an issue with the whole meet them in the middle thing, but I was like, whatever, like at least it's somewhat more towards our side of the middle than their side. And I didn't like it, but I was like, whatever. Now they've completely abandoned the original thing, which was they come to our country, they adopt our values, and then in private life, they can keep their own traditions and heritage and whatever. That's fine. And then it was, okay, we'll meet them in the middle. They can do all their heritage and culture in the public, and we just have to accept that and learn that maybe they just don't speak English all the time. And I was like, oh, whatever. All right, so they don't have to technically fully assimilate, but that's whatever. And now they don't have to assimilate. Assimilation is racist. And not only do we have to accept theirs, they don't have to accept ours, because accepting our culture is not culture. It's racist. It's unbelievable. And he sees all of this. That's why he's so upset and animated about all this crap, which he doesn't seem to be here, but in his speeches he is.
Because we've seen it with sectarian voting in a number of North England towns.
George Galloway.
Sure. And if there's a few other examples, I mean, there's an incredible poster in the East Midlands by Ahmed Yaqub saying, lend your voice to Gaza. That's literally his electoral program. And behind him is a dilapidated post-industrial warehouse building type where you can see the dilapidation of that town, but that guy's program is lend your voice to Gaza rather than let's restore this town to its former glory.
Rochdale, where George Galloway was elected, Rochdale had the biggest grooming scandal in our country, one of the biggest one in our country's history, of Muslim gangs raping hundreds, if not thousands, of young
mainly
girls.
Pakistani men.
The election wasn't even mentioned. Yeah, everyone was talking about Gaza. Yeah, well, I'm being funny. This is about Britain and about putting British problems in our towns and cities. And whether I take satisfaction from it, you see all these people in here who have called us Islamophobic, who have shouted us down. They're now going to see the sectarianism. They're now going to understand it, because the people who are getting into politics now are Islamists, are pro-Hamas. Yeah, people are going to be sitting in this building are pro-Hamas. Not that they're not already, because many on the left already are. Yeah, pro-Hamas, but we're not talking about supporters of terrorism, supporters of jihad, hatred to Jews. When we talk about even what we've witnessed, and people always want to shy away from getting to the root cause of the problem. What is the problem? Islam. Is it to do with Israel? Is it to do with land? I think Hitler's book Mein Kampf has 7% Jew hatred. The Quran has 11%. Wow. Let's not pretend it's to do with land, yeah? It's nothing to, let's not pretend the reason why these people hate the Jews, the reason why they're in every town and city across the West, calling for the death, the destruction of the only Jewish state. If we hear about Palestinians needing a state, they've got a state. 60% of Jordan's Palestinian. You've got a state. There's 21 Arab states, yeah? What you're calling for is not another Palestinian state. What you're calling for is the destruction of the only Jewish state. And only Jewish state, yeah? You've got 55...
And another failed Arab state. That's what you want. You want to get rid of the only Jewish state, which isn't technically even a Jewish state. It's a Jewish majority state. And you want to add another Arab state that is not just a Muslim majority state, but a Muslim country that is a theocracy.
5 Islamic countries. How come none of them are taking them in?
By theocracy, I mean like Iran.
These politicians wanting to import all the Gazans into Great Britain to put us at risk, to put us at more danger. Even if you just look at the
why would you accept Gazan refugees when not even the most extreme Muslim countries will accept them due to how radical they are and dangerous they are, and their experiences of accepting those people in the past has led them to never take them again because they are so dangerous and so barbaric.
The statistics of the way they think in these regions, they're pro-Hamas. So what you're saying is the majority of them are pro-Hamas. You want to import people who are pro-Hamas into Great Britain. We've already got an out-of-control jihadist ideology controlling this capital city. They've had free reign. The police have not policed them. They've not clamped down on them. They've clamped down on the people talking about them. Enoch Powell said it. They don't deal with the problem. They deal with the people talking about the problem. I'm easy to deal with. Stefan,
all we need to shut up Tommy Robinson is for the Islamists to be deported. And Tommy Robinson essentially shuts up, right?
Let's see. We're going to watch more of this another time. I'm going to finish a little bit more of this on the Islam and stuff. And then we'll watch the other segments, like the last one I just skipped over, and then a whole bunch more. But I wanted to cover this interview along with another thing that's related to all this.
I'm not saying I want to get rid of every Muslim from the UK. Yeah? I've grown up in Luton Town. Some of the best people I've met growing up are Muslim. Yeah? That doesn't stop me from saying Islam and the encroachment of Sharia and the spread Saudi Arabia, Qatar. Do you know who's funding everything in this country? Saudi Arabia, Qatar and Iran. How have they got bases in our capital city? These fascist ideologies, the abuse of human rights in all these countries, they own half the capital city.
Yep.
Our country are pandering to them. Our politicians are pandering them. They've bought our capital city. They've bought our politicians through their money, and the British public are fed up of it. So I just, and unfortunately, due to censorship, due to all these issues, everyone's scared to say it. And they should be scared to say it because we live in a totalitarian state. You lose a job, you get depersoned. They incite people against you and violence against you. We have well-funded far-left organisations whose job it is to track down anyone that speaks out.
True.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, you had that girl, just an autistic girl, who said that a cop kind of looked like she was gay. And immediately she was hunted down later that day where they went to her house. She was hiding in a closet. She's so terrified, went into an autistic fit, which is not fun. They hit themselves, hurt themselves, freak out. They can't function. And this girl's freaking out in a closet, crying, hysterical. And they drag her out of the closet eventually and take her to jail for saying that a cop looked gay. And by the way, the girl looked gay. She had a dyke, short blonde haircut, like not too different than mine. And literally not too different from mine, just bleached blonde. And she was skinny and had the uniform made her shoulders look broader. So yeah, what's wrong with saying that she looked like a lesbian? Like, who cares? Like, it's unbelievable that a simple comment like that can throw an autistic girl in jail. And then you have people who say a man is a man and a woman is a woman and a man only has a penis and a woman only has a vagina. Somehow that's prison offense. And a woman who's outside of an abortion clinic standing there doing nothing, not even opening her mouth. If a cop walks up to her and says, "Ma'am, are you praying?" And she goes, "No." And he goes, "Oh, well, if you're praying silently, I need to know because that's still illegal." And she goes, "No, I'm not praying." And she sits there and closes her eyes again, goes back to what she's doing. And the cop says, "No, I know you're praying. All right, you're under arrest," and arrests her for praying in front of an abortion clinic, which she ended up getting 2 months in jail for. Are you crapping me? Are you seriously? Come on, guys. What the hell is, like, they are a totalitarian country. I'm not a fan of Russia. I've said this many times. People who simp for Russia on the right are pathetic losers. But Russia in 2022 had 550 people arrested for what they said online. In the same year, England had 3,355 people arrested for what they said online. So how is it that Russia had almost 3,000 less people arrested than the UK. To be more accurate, 2,800 people less. How is that possible? No one wants to explain that? Okay, good. That's what I thought. That's basically what happens when you try to talk to these people in England who are like on that side of the aisle, the other side of the aisle. They don't even know that happens. They don't know the statistics. And when they find it out, they're so in disbelief about it that they're like, oh, well, if that is true, well, I agree with it, I guess, because I'm getting what I want done. So it's like, okay, you're okay with totalitarianism. You're okay with fascism as long as it fits your needs. And that's the truth. That's what they believe. So let's get in. We'll finish this episode on another day. And just so I don't make it too long of a video. And we'll cover this. This is super important. It's been reposted around a few times, but this is from that guy. I did a video on the Gaza graduation in one of my Shabbat streams or Shabbat episodes. So yeah, let's get into it. Alrighty.
For months now, millions of people around the world have been chanting Free Palestine. Well, I've decided to...
if you like this kind of interview that he's doing, I've covered another interview similar to it. It's one of my older videos, one of my really old videos, and different title style, everything, different editing on the thumbnail style, or a different editing style on the thumbnail, everything. So it's, if I remember correctly, it's what do Palestinians really think about Jews? And if you go really far back, there'll be that one. And then there's another one about what do Israelis think about Palestinians? And they're right next to each other. And you can watch both and you can see really what both sides think. And you'll be not surprised about what the Jews said and not surprised about what the Palestinians said. You know, one side was nice and one side obviously wasn't. And this is more proof on that.
To see Palestine. Welcome to the Wild West Bank. Are you supportive of Hamas?
Yes.
Yes, of course. Yes.
Are most Palestinians?
Yeah.
Palestinian people like Hamas.
I'm with the resistance.
Did you see the videos they posted of what they did on October 7th?
Everything.
And you're okay with all that?
With everything they did.
They killed innocent Israelis. They killed... Yes,
No.
they did.
No.
Yes, they did.
Give me a picture for rape.
Do you think Hamas should release the Israeli hostages?
No.
No. No.
Nothing.
Then why should Israel
There's nothing
release
named
the
Israel?
Yeah.
The
criminal
Quran mentions
prisoners?
Israel over 100 times.
The Quran mentions it over 100
Is
times.
Palestine mentioned in the Quran?
Not only does it mention Israel, it mentions specifically the children of Israel, as in the Jews, which Muhammad speaks of multiple times, even though he speaks of them later on in the Quran as in very bad terms because they didn't accept him as a prophet, which he eventually thought they would. But they said, no, 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 you stupid man. We will not follow you and your pedophile cult.
No. The murders Hamas did on October 7th, is that okay?
Yes. They have the right to do it.
The problem
No,
is
they
not
don't.
Hamas. We should look at the bigger picture.
They living under occupation.
But
No,
Israel
they're
left
not.
Gaza in 2005.
Sure.
What does
What?
Antifada mean?
Violent.
And neither one of us were born anywhere near 1940.
What does Hamas mean? Literally, what does Hamas mean? It means violence. It's the Hebrew word for violence. These people are beyond idiotic.
We have to deal with the reality today.
No.
No, don't deal with the reality today.
Britain brought all the criminal Jews since 1948. They can go back. Hollanda, Iraq.
Most of those places they were kicked out of.
Jews have not been killed or exposed to any struggle or any violence. Not
Almost
in
every country in the Middle East.
No.
Oh, that's true.
Educate yourself.
Yeah, I mean, just not only this, the 800,000 Jews that were forced out of Middle Eastern and North African countries, but the, what was it again? Oh yeah, that's right. 6.7 million murdered in the Holocaust, and the extra few million on top of that were murdered during the war in either conflicts, resistance, uprisings, or, you know, a number of other things. So how is it that we can somehow, you can sit here and spout off these nonsensical things, and then somehow at the same time, when you're told you're wrong and people bring up facts, you're like, no, 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 no facts here, only idiotic statements.
If they are kicked, it's because of their own actions.
What did they do?
What about what about being retaliated against and occupied? Maybe that was to do with your own actions.
Besides being Jewish.
They steal, they They do all awful deeds.
Does
More
anyone here hate
propaganda.
Hamas?
In the U.S., it's a big movement right now, Queers for Palestine. Are you
Oh, yeah.
supportive of that?
No, we don't have it.
You don't have gay people here.
No.
It's like an alien.
It would not be accepted.
No, to be honest with you, no.
Do you want to live with the Israelis in peace? Or
No. I want one state solution. No Israel.
So no more Israel?
Yes.
Israel wiped off the map.
Palestine فقط.
We should delete Israel.
So you would not be okay with a two-state solution?
Of course not.
Israelis prisoners when they released from Gaza, they was smiling.
You think
Yeah, you think that because occasionally when people are being released home, that they're so happy they're actually about to see their family that they would smile? And then let's not forget that literally one of the women who almost dropped the facade for a moment was yelled at, hey, pointed at and yelled at by one of the Hamas members for dropping the smile when she entered the van. And the reason why is she said she looked to the person next to her and said, oh my God, we're almost home. This sucks. Or something like that. And immediately then the person was like, hey, no. And then right after the person said, hey, no, because they were pointing at the Hamas guy, the Hamas person yelled at her and said, hey, no. And it was unbelievable.
think that these people are genuinely smiling after being held hostage? They're scared for their life.
Who put this in your brain?
I think you're in denial about Hamas. So Hamas implements strict Sharia law. It looks like in Ramallah, at least, you're free to show your hair. Would you want Hamas to be in charge?
They would allow for elections.
No,
Why
they
not?
haven't had elections in Gaza in 20 years. That's a fact.
Maybe people there want them.
That's why they cut off the heads and legs of people who say anything against them. That's right. Idiot. Yeah. Okay. All right. I can't believe this woman. These people are like, do you call Zionists indoctrinated? Do you call Jews indoctrinated? Do you call people who believe in Israel and the people of Israel indoctrinated? Why is it that you don't call these idiots indoctrinated? Every single thing they said was so easily debunkable that, like, an idiot with no Google could probably tell you all of those facts and debunk every single one right after another with no issue. And yet these people believe in everything they just said and somehow believe it's true. And why is that? Because they have no one there questioning them. This is what happens when you live in a society where everybody believes the same thing. You do not want a society where every single person is the same religion, the same thought process, the same everything. And that's another issue I have with some of the so-called right-wing people, is because why would you want to live in a country that's only something, the thing you like? Because then you're never going to be questioned. You're never going to find out if you're wrong about something because you don't have someone else there pushing back against your own ideas. And that's the issue. It's the same issue with the left, but like it's infested the right now recently too, because they're so tired of the left, and it's pathetic. And these people are a prime example of that. All righty, guys. So I'll catch you in the next one. Don't forget to go down there and smash the like button, hit that subscribe button, ring the bell for notifications, and don't forget to come back for more. I appreciate you guys coming down. All righty. I'll catch you in the next one. Have a good one.